Hello boys, it's me, Cool Yoshi here, and welcome back to my 100% blind playthrough of the new Pokémon Snap for Nintendo Switch. In the last episode, we left off trying to complete all of the quests in Duras in the Outway Cave, but we didn't actually complete all of them. So we're gonna fix just that. There's also a couple of Pokemon we have to get here, so we're going to do that. So before we do anything, yes, I am going on Research Level 2 because there's some secret hoses that only appear here. Very annoying that we have to even deal with this at all, but that's just what you have to deal with sometimes. So, my only sign that I'm on Research Level 2 is if it was on Research Level 3, there'd be Drift Room out there. So that's a good sign that I'm on the right track. But anyways, it's not too hard to actually get the poses. It won't really take that long, because in this cave area of level 2, you take the same route every time, so there's not really a choice to do anything else. So anyways, you want to start by throwing a Fuffru at this Glalie to wake him up. The first animation. And then for the second animation, I'm gonna zoom in here, wait on purpose, and in a minute, a bunch of guys will fly by. When we see that happen, we want to hit the Glalie again. And you'll ignore Fuffru and go straight for these guys. We just need a 3-star full of these Drifloon getting scared, and that'll give us our 3-star. Pretty easy. And then, as part of Research Level 2, we'll be forced into the secret route. This time, when we go into this area, we're not going to, run our stuff, so we'll just ignore this for now. Yes, we did come in here to get a Geodude pose, but we missed a couple of ours. So this next one is a little bit tricky. I'm gonna actually wait a tiny bit here. I don't know if he stops or not. But anyways, this Carbon kind of gets chased around, and I just realized something that needs to be a little bit faster for that. In case you're wondering, I just need to throw Illumina Orbs at that. Again, I've only done these a couple of times. I did do some stuff off screen, but I expect that to happen. And yes, I'm doing this animation really specifically because for some reason those will always fly in your way to bother you once you get to a certain point. So I want to get this done first, because if I don't do it in a specific order, then it's possible that they will block the photo. It makes it kind of a scary timing though, so what I'm doing is basically zooming in until about this point and then just hitting them. If you see the Crobat fly away, that's a good sign that you're good, because they could potentially block you. So yeah, any scared photo of them will give you a 3-star. It's pretty straightforward. And then these Rampardos will roar at us to make us go into the side route. We got their 4-star pose a little bit differently later, but right now we're just gonna ignore that. And then for the second part, yes, I am doing this in a specific manner to make it a little bit interesting. Zoom out. We're not going to slow down or feign, and we're just going to turbo through this to try and get this animation to appear. And we get this very interesting animation where Carbink kind of flashes. It's kind of weird, but that's his 3-star pose. So again, they will only do this on 2 stars, so it is incredibly rare to get. And we'll just use auto like before to get these photos, because with getting certain star photos, we do not need to necessarily pick the right ones. So we'll just use auto mode and it'll hopefully pick the best ones. And there we go. That completes one page and gets the only really annoying part about this level out of the way. But now we have the other problems, and such which include, now we have to deal with that one request I mentioned earlier. So how I dealt with this one, how I dealt with practicing for this request is is I am simply going to be, I simply just watched a video for the hard request that people were having trouble with, and went through that a couple of times, then ran some tests myself until I got it exactly right, and then that's when I came up with the route. It was kind of weird. Anyways, into the cave we go again. So this one, I do have a specific route I want to take just to show it off, so I will be go aheading and zooming for this first portion and kind of just talk. So, I haven't really mentioned much, but there's a lot of secrets you have to activate to get this one to have. It's actually the request that I went for in the last video called Gem Reality, but I just learned a couple of things about that specific quest. One, apparently if you activate Diancie earlier in the round, she doesn't show up when you need to later, so you cannot do that during that specific spot, which is really weird. Again, I'm zooming through this part because this entire first half of this course doesn't have a good spot here. Now, there is an other route that I haven't taken much that I will show. It's kind of weird. I believe the way you're supposed to do it is there are two Noibat you can follow around, and if you follow them, you can potentially take a secret route. That will be dealt with a little bit later. It doesn't actually seem to change much. But anyways, so there's a couple of important things I've learned while we're at here. So not only does spawning Diancie here ruin the opportunity for our special photo later, but you need to spawn a Vivillon at a specific spot, and the crystal boom that people think they need to hit is not actually the proper crystal boom, but one that's hidden from the side. So basically you have to hit that crystal boom, then we activate all the Carbink, then we play the melody to lure out Diancie, we wait until we get to a specific spot, and then we hit her with an Illumina Orb and zoom out and use Burst Mode, which, just to show you, yes, I have Burst Mode enabled. Very difficult, though. And from there, you just kind of burst and pray. The biggest troll part is all of the requirements. There needs to be diamond sparkles running in the background, which will happen as part of the 4-star pose once Diancie destroys the gem. Diancie has to be fully visible in frame, or at least in the frame, and it has to be a 4-star full of Carbink dancing. If you don't have any of those, then your request will not complete. Obviously, you have to zoom out to complete that, which is kind of unfortunate because that means you'll have to do a second attempt later if you want a good 4-star pose. That is, unless the background also gives you more points. It's hard to know, though. But anyways, I'm kind of just going to focus here. So what I found for the Vivillon to make it easier is to just mash the crap out of the Illumina Orb as you go into the spot. And that's the Vivillon you're looking for. If that flies back, you get that done. If she is up here, you have to restart the course from the beginning. Probably the trolliest part of this entire section, in the middle section, is getting the fourth Carbink to appear. And the 4th Carbink can only be found via this pillar, and it's very tough. It is possible to activate it sooner, but it is very tricky. But anyways, you're basically doing this until Diancie appears. If you're too far behind, then go ahead and turbo until you get to around this point. Throw the orb and zoom out, and that's about it. So, we're basically just doing the classic mash and play strategy. And then this time around, we are going to have to look for the photos. Auto is not enough, by the way, and don't mind me, that's just something else. Everything is perfectly fine. And it can't just be that. They have to be dancing in the sparkles. So, I am taking this one and just going through. Oh my gosh. Again?
Let's do this.
Okay. This is really dumb. Okay, well, alright, let's focus on the request first. Okay, it's not gonna be worth a lot of points, but we don't really care because we got request complete. And here he even says, try pairing Pokemon with other spiking backgrounds. If that's not in the background, you don't get your request complete. That's probably the chilliest section. Of course, now that you know exactly what triggers it, it's actually not that bad, but yeah. On the website I found out that is a very tricky request to complete. But anyways, it looks like something came up with my thing. So, you guys probably didn't notice anything, but I have a phone that kind of gets requests happen, and yeah. I'm just gonna be right back for a minute. Hello guys, welcome back. My apologies for all of that stuff, what just happened. One of my friends didn't call me on my phone, but texted me, and I had to deal with that. That comes first, after all. So, I kind of just went and dealt with that, and now I'm back here. So anyways, where we left off, we're still trying to get stuff in the cave, and this next part is going to be where things interesting happen. So now we're going to take the secret route again, but this time we're going to do things a bit differently. Oh, actually, this is one of the secret routes, isn't it? Right. Yeah. Just realized the secret route we're going for is actually the same secret route from earlier. So that means the only other secret route available was from that mile. Anyways, so for this next request, we're going to be doing the Myth of the Cave quest as well as the secondary quest this one. So we're going to do Sanity or whatever. Bring Deontay up from the side. Move down to the right to get a good photo range of her. And then we're going to take a picture of her after she's destroyed the gem. This is what the gem animation normally looks like. You need a photo with her eyes closed and her hands up. That's how you get your 4-star. And then we have to take the regular route for this next one. And then the second one, there are too many Noibat in this nearby area, so we have to scare 2 of them off. Which I'll do. What we need is a 4-star photo of them. And for some reason, the game tells you can't get the 4-star photo until after you scared off 2 Noibat. Which I'm never quite sure about. Again, you can't just take any photo of Deontay. It has to be a photo of with her hands up and her eyes closed. This only happens after you finish the everything. And then we'll just take another photo for that, and that should finish off that part. Which will get our request completed. And then the next part, we'll have to do 2 runs, at least I know of, to get requests done. Thankfully, we were able to diamond star both of those, so that was pretty good. That means we did really well at that. Oh, this became one of Professor's favorites. Thanks, Professor, for actually getting a good photo. That's not bad. So that'll be saved by default, and I can maybe turn that into something later. Maybe. Unless I chose not to save it, which I just did, but oh well. That's fine. I'm probably gonna save a couple of our photos later. Alright. Well, here comes the most interesting part that I'm going for, which will potentially get me 3 Pokemon set up at the same time. So we have to start by throwing a Fluff Root at this Hydreigon so it lands right on top of him. That's our 2-star pose. If we don't get that for a different stuff, we can get that later if we really need to, but the next part is probably the most interesting and trolly part. It's actually pretty fast. We have to do this kind of fast here. So we're going to start by waking up the 2 Crobat. First one with a scan. Another by playing the melody at a specific point. That'll scare these Crobat away so we can go to the alternate route later. And then for the second part, we're going to lure out these Jotic and Zoom so we have enough time to get to their specific spot. And we're going to spam scan in a very precise manner so they move every few minutes. And we want to do this until they get to that spot. And then they'll scratch their heads like that. It's very rare. Not many people know this pose even exists, but it is a thing that exists. And then for this next one, we're going to run a scan and take the alternative route, but instead of doing the stuff we did for the pose earlier, we're going to do something completely different. By the way, the only hint you are given of this is if you scan enough times, eventually a random question mark will appear out of nowhere. Any secondary research thing along with that. Throw a orb so it lands exactly there, and a Magikarp will come out. Again, there's literally a spot that tells you where exactly to throw at. So do that, and then as Magikarp goes into each of the spots, very quickly throw Illumino Orbs at it, and it'll eventually make its way all the way into Goodra and sort of survives him. And yeah, you can also scare the Noibat too. When you reach around this spot, you want to throw an Orb at Goodra. By the way, it came kind of late, so I actually didn't get the thing to happen. I think that I'll go retry that. I want to get these all done at once, or at least that one done. That's the important one. If I don't get that one done, I have to reset, because I'll already waste a lot of time trying to go back just to complete another request. So, it's kind of tight. Okay, but anyways, gonna have to zoom through this again. If we don't zoom, we can't actually get the Hydreigon 2-star. That's why we have to do this in a specific manner. So again, interrupt him so we can get a 2-star photo of him. Now that I think of it, I might only be able to get that photo as appears down to the R route. Wake up the first Crobat. Wake up the second one. Make these Joltik move. If you are having trouble timing the setup, then the best way of doing this is to spam scan until they get all the way up to the rock. Now, if you throw an Illumino Orb at them, I believe it has to be an Illumino Orb, then they'll automatically do their 3-star pose as you go through. It's an automatic thing that kind of just happens over time. Okay, so I am able to get the thing, but I actually have to an Illumino Orb in Huja's area as soon as he gets to that spot. That I never mentioned. So that means I'm going to have to turbo as I go around there to get a good photo. It's kind of tricky. Again, we'll scan this just like we did before. Has an orb so it lands exactly in the area. Could be kind of tricky to get sometimes. Okay, now we got it. That was kind of late, but there's a lot of time we can make back up, so... Now we're just gonna turbo, so we get to around this point. He's gonna land here, quickly toss an Illumina Orb, and Gudra will tail smack him to oblivion, basically. That's the pose you're looking for. That's your 4-star Gudra, and that's about it. And since none of these other poses really require anything, we're gonna look for free exclamation points, which we got, and then use auto mode to pick the best photos, and that's it. So, we got exactly what we wanted. And the way I'm gonna check this is actually gonna be done a little bit sooner, but of course, we're not gonna be done with it just yet. He wasn't even facing me and I got a diamond photo. That was very impressive for him not facing me. And a good 3-star diamond on that, and a 3-star diamond on that as well. But yeah, again, while you don't need to use burst mode, it's heavily recommended to use them for a lot of photos, especially for that gem royalty run. Without that, you don't get a chance to get a good photo. Again, if in case I haven't mentioned, the reason why it's so tough is because of all the requirements for the request to count as complete. Deontay must be visible in the frame, meaning our Pokemon have to be visible. You have to have a background bonus where there's diamond sparkles in the background. That only happens during the beginning of the 4-star pose, and it has to be a 4-star photo of Carbink dancing. It's very difficult to get, and because of the way it's set up, it's almost impossible to get a good pose along with that. So, yeah. Very tough to get correct. But if we do get that done, then we'll be able to finish stuff off really fast, which will be nice. Okay, this next part, now we've gotten all that done, we don't have to worry about the other photos now. We already got our 3-star drift room photo, we got our other photos, and we got the other one done. Again, I did this all because of a specific, based off of a specific route. So now we just have to complete the same steps as we did for the other quest. For some reason when I did this, it did not count, so I'm going to try doing it with zoomed out and see if that works a bit better. Not sure if I was late or early, but we'll find out. But anyway, this one's even more straightforward than the others. Just take the hidden route, and once you're on the hidden route, there's a secret spot with some drift room where you could do an action to make them completely puff up and inflate their heads or whatever. And their 4-star photo is what you need to complete the request. And I believe the pools have to be illuminated as well, but that's pretty obvious. What you're looking for is for there to be a couple of drift room, not on one other side, but I think on a later edge. The trolliest part about this is the fact that there's a hidden crystal boom that the game doesn't really tell you about. It's kind of trolly, actually. The game does not tell you it's there, either. Okay. It's another one of those troll cluster booms, as you can see. The game doesn't show you where it is via the scan route. That's part of what actually caused me to fail this the first time, is because I didn't do it early enough. That middle pull is what you want. Hunt, by the way. And yes, in order to get the effect to work, you have to get photos of the Crobat doing their stuff. Well, not photos of them. You have to wake up both of them, which can be rather tough to do. Interesting how Melody of all things lures them to do that. Now, there are multiple chances to potentially trigger the animations again, so I can potentially do some backups if for some reason it does not work. Oh, now it shows me all of a sudden. Oh, it's below me. That's what makes it so trolly. Yeah, you fly right over it. Okay, there we go. Alright. Quit research and hope for the best, I guess. Is all we can really hope for. I think there has to be an illumination happening in the background as I do this. Alright. Yes, I don't want a Noribat photo right now. It's only a GIF room photo counts. Sign up with happiness. Okay, good. That might have just been I have to take the alternate route that blocked that from happening. Because some of these requests don't actually complete immediately until after you get the alternate route. With that in mind, maybe going for the Gudra 4-star pose would have been better. If I do a speedrun of this ever. And I happen to remember that. Okay. Yeah. It's kind of a chilly spot for the crystal boom. It's not even middle or left. It's right in the middle of you, but behind. And you can only see it going from a specific spot. Anyways. We've unlocked all of the requests, which is good, I guess. Alright. So it was a GIF doom. It was just puffed way up. What was it full of, anyway? I think the professor calls it happiness, but, you do you, Phil, I guess. Maybe I just imagine a flash of pink light. It was Deontay. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. Great down. No doubt about it. Those are some happy carving. Alright, yeah. Okay, now the only other one is the Steelix one. So actually, before I do any checks, I need to make sure I do the Steelix run right now. This is the only one I haven't really done much research on, unfortunately. So I'm gonna actually be bringing up my guide right now as I do this. So I can try and do this. I'm gonna start with the 4-star, funnily enough. Instead of the other one. So it has a couple of things that I'll have to do. And yes, I'm not cutting this out because I like, show you exactly what I'm doing. I just think it's fun to see stuff like this. Okay. So here's what we have to do. We have to illuminate and make a Probat fly out, and then track a Steelix, specifically in the area with the stalactites. And that'll allow us to potentially get its 4-star pose, which is really weird. And yeah, for some reason there's a Joltik here. Jeez. In case you're wondering, since I've not done a full run of this in a while, I am trying to make sure I get all of the different Pokemon here as well. Alright. Okay, we got it illuminated. Alright. The first part of Steelix coming out does not change, and you don't want to actually do anything with him. It's not until the second area where we can actually get the 4-star photo. Alright, so this is the area we want. Okay, so we make Phobat 5 of the hole, and then we have to track Steelix. It's kind of tricky. The trickiest part about it is actually hitting it with Illumino Orbs. Whoa. It's hard to really know what exactly we need to do for this part. Whoa. Whoa. Isn't that interesting? Straight up could have been a 4-star pose. Okay, that's a good one. So, there's another pose you have to get that I haven't really mentioned, but this one is pretty straightforward. Pretty much, if you take any regular route through this cave, by the way... Oh, I didn't notice I had very low full count there. Woof. Good thing we did all that. I did that as a backup, by the way, because I'm not sure if I actually got the 4-star Steelix full. Warning, 4-star Steelix is kind of fast. He doesn't really do much, and... darn it, it was not enough. It has to be a 3-star photo of him interacting. Well... that means we have to retry from the beginning, because we did not get that. Oh, that's right, because I forgot to throw an orb at Steelix. What? I didn't even take photos for them, and it's still counted as a high score? Oh, I'll take it, but I'm not done yet. Okay. I guess them taking photos doesn't really matter at all. I didn't know that could happen, by the way. That is very strange what just happened there, but whatever. Okay, well, we'll restart if we don't get our 2-star photos. And settings off. The trickiest part about getting a good score is not necessarily the leftover Pokemon or the other side Pokemon. Is finding these two hidden boys at the start, especially these Carbink and the other Pokemon. They only appear during the beginning. They do not appear anywhere else. Interesting. Well, at least I got one good score run, if that's ever a beaver. The trickiest part is you have to make this Crobat fly out before you can actually go for that. Because that leaves him to do that spot. Okay, now I have to turn my settings to burst mode. The trickiest part about this is, rather than aiming at a specific spot, in order to get this to work, you have to aim at the foes of when it tries to get to a specific spot, which can be rather tough to get. I'm actually going to take a little bit of a break and be right back for a minute. I'm going to retry, even though I might have a good photo, but I'm doing this to try and trigger something a bit better. So anyways, we're just going to be taking 2 quick ones of each of these Pokemon. Starting with this and Carbink. Actually, well, I could just get one up top, so I'm not going to do that. Because they'll get alerted in a minute when Steelix appears. Okay. It's a little bit late for that, but, well. I'm gonna also take a picture of this Crobat as it does one of its animations. There he is. That could have very well easily been a really good pose I can go for. Okay, here's the only part where I can do stuff. Six photos. Fluff fruit and aim. Yep, Steelix attempts to bite that lock for some strange reason. It's kind of strange the way it goes. This is a very quick timing, as with pretty much all of the other ones that came before this. So we have to get a photo of that specific thing, otherwise that won't count as a 4-star. It's rather tough to get, as you can clearly see. And that's not the end of this. I believe there's one other Pokemon left? I forgot. Actually, well, there's Noibat, High, and Crobat. And then there's the other guys. And then there's also, the two guys at the beginning. No, Sailai, Noibat, and Crobat. And then the two guys at the beginning. Okay, so that is all. That is all of them. You know what? I am gonna just take that. Okay, we're gonna quit research. Since all of the other ones are completed, we won't get a gray out. In case you're wondering why I didn't take all of these, I'm looking for a exclamation point on Steelix, which we just got finally. And that is a really good timing on that as well. I'm gonna go ahead and take my first one, actually. Unfortunately, there's not a good way to get a big photo of Steelix. You basically just have to mash and pray. If you get a moment of the timing it breaks the lock, that'll be your 4-star. That's probably the toughest thing to do that. And the reason why I went through that and not for anything else is because since I'm trying to go for collecting all the Pokemon, I'm also trying to go for a high score at the same time. And since 4-stars award more points, I thought I would go for that instead. To see if that would help out. It's biting into stone. Fat Sassy. You capture it at the exact right moment. Funny how it was still a diamond despite a lot of the Pokemon being cut off. Again, it is very fast. In fact, that's probably one of the fastest animations ever. Basically, need to know exactly where it's gonna appear. Okay, we did get a 2-star photo and a 4-star photo of Crobat. That's gonna help our points a lot. Alright. We got all 6 that we need. Now let's see what we get here. Lots of experience towards that. Oh, no. For some reason, that didn't count as a good score, but yet the one before did. Maybe because they were more powerful and interactive. I don't know. I don't know what caused that, but I think a good, bad full of timing might have led to... I'm not sure. I don't even know what the theory is behind that many points being used. Also, I just learned something new. Even if you take no photos from the professor, for some reason he still gives you a score for it. It's so very strange. I don't know what happened, but anyway... We're gonna go ahead and go for the request now, which will be the last thing we do in this video. I'm gonna use the waiting animation of this to look at the actual request, since the request is not just for a 2, it's for a 3-star Steelix. So we're going to, need that. Oh, Steelix takes a reader, huh? I have to retry this anyway. Now this is actually a lot more interesting than I thought. So before these guys move away, you have to throw aluminum orbs at all 3 of them. I can see. Yeah. I don't really know if I've done that yet. Oh. help if I can actually hit ya. So remember the Steelix animation that we were going through for a lot of the other stuff? For this to occur, we actually have to be extremely peaceful with Steelix. We can't throw any Illumino orbs at any other stuff, and we can't lay up any crystal bombs as we proceed through the last area. I basically just have to wait on this. As you'll see, it'll appear similar to what it did before, but instead of it doing its normal animation, it does this instead, which is kind of weird. Oh! That caused an alternative route to appear. I just realized that, because now it's sleeping. I think we have to take an alternative route. Okay, well, that could have easily been a 3-star. Well, I guess while we're here, we may as well try and take an alternate route. Oh, there it is. There's a corridor behind the collapsed wall. It looks human-made. Oh, it's an alternate way to get a good Jotic photo, huh? There's Pokemon behind that. Interesting. I'm gonna at least take some photos in here. I don't know what... Oh! This is an alternate route into the you-know-what. Right, because the Ancient Ruins, the first time we did the feint, it didn't actually count towards the photo, which I think is kind of interesting. You're forced in here via a normal route as you go through the game, but... What is that Pokemon in the center? But yes, just like the other ones, we have to go to here and initiate the teleportation. And yes, because we took an alternate route, the game blocked us from doing the quick research option. So now we have to proceed all the way through the course until we reach the end. Then once we reach the end, we can actually see whether or not we finish this or not. A photo of a sleeping Steelix is all we need, thankfully. That also means, though, we won't be able to do the 3-star yet. Kind of interesting they don't let you get that particular one done. Alright. That's a nice way to get a good 1-star photo. Alright. Quite a strange thing I was missing, but oh well. Okay. Now back to 3-star. There's actually a couple of different ways to get the 3-star photo. I think I'm gonna actually go for the backup photo now I think of it. Okay, it's gonna probably take some time to get this to work. Okay, don't believe a freeze-star animation can happen in the last area. So, we'll just skip this part. Yes, there are multiple ways for Steelix to go, but it seems kind of random. There are multiple ways to get a free star, but I don't really know the best way of doing that. Again, it's still kind of a blind playthrough. I don't necessarily know the best ways to take photos of each of them. I guess doing the same thing again would help out us, maybe, a little bit. Just realized something. Did I not even interact? Ugh. Dumb thing. I have to retry from the beginning. Well, I guess we're doing this again. Okay, I think the only way to get it to interact with the other Pokemon is to get our animations to play. Hey. What's that? I'll tell you what that is. Very quick it is at doing that specific animation. You can just barely tell it's even doing that. Okay, so I have to interact with Steelix in all of these areas to get it to show up here. Kind of weird that that, for some reason, causes it to not show up here, but, whatever floats your boat, game. I'm gonna have to take quite a few photos during this if, it's really that seriously hard to get. Meanwhile, I'll be spamming stuff like non-stop here. Oh, that was the roar. Oh, so that only happens in the final area, huh? Mashing. How about this? Okay. Spamming and praying, really. It's about all we can do here. Okay, we got it. And it looks like the rare one. Did we actually get the alternative pose? No, we did not. I mean, the regular. I think this is actually the default 3-star pose. I think the actual them interacting with them, I think that's only his 2-star pose. Maybe that's why it didn't work. But anyway, we got the lore, which is good. So we're finally done with this section. That's all of Steelix photos done. So we no longer have to worry about that. Time to return to camp and just do some stuff here.
Because I'm a genius photographer.
Okay, I've never seen... I've never heard Todd say that before. That's a new one. Okay, so my new way of checking these, in case you didn't already know, is I like to now check via Photodex, via direct observation, because then we can also check how much Pokemon we have. By the way, we have every single one now, 214, so that's good to know. Anyways, so Steelix is fully complete, Carbink is complete, Goodra is complete. Again, anything that has a crown on means it's complete. In other words, all 1 through 4-star photos. Noibat is complete. Driftoon is complete. Okay, so we have 1, 2, and 3. That's all of them. Alright, so that's every single Pokemon in the Duras area fully 1 and 4-starred. See how fast that was to get through, by the way? It's much faster to do that this way rather than the other way. So with that in mind, leave a like if you guys enjoyed this, rate, subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next video where we try and move on to Auroras. Until then, bye, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.